Let me introduce myself. If you guys don't know me, I'm Katiwe. I'm a light worker, manifestation coach, all the things. I transmute negative energy into positive energy, help people shift limiting beliefs, all the things. Anyways, that's who I am, what I do. So, on to trust. So, trust is a really important factor, right? It's a really, really important thing when you're looking at manifesting things in your life. Just to feel good in general. Trust is a big, 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 big deal. It's also a first chakra thing, right? Your root chakra. So if you grew up in a home that wasn't stable financially, emotionally, maybe you had trauma, maybe there was abuse in the home, maybe there was just emotional neglect, maybe parents left you, like physically, maybe people died, and you just didn't feel supported, right? Like, and that happens to you as a kid, whatever it was. And you felt like you couldn't trust life. You felt like you weren't supported, like, you weren't taken care of fully, right? That all makes sense, right? As a kid, not feeling that way. But the thing is that these events have affected you to this day, most likely, right? So for me, there's issues of, parents not being there for me fully, issues with money, things like that. So I definitely didn't understand or fully feel trust, fully feel supported by the universe, fully feel like I could just, let go and allow all the good things to my life, right? And so as I've gone on this journey, especially over the last year, I've really, really skyrocketed my understanding of life and spirituality and everything, right? All the things. I realized that this was a big area for me, right? Because if you can't trust that life is good for you, if you can't trust the universe is bringing you what you want, if you can't trust that you're going to have more money, you're going to have more success, if you can't trust that your desires are coming, they're not going to come, right? It's going to be really, really hard for them to come because you play a role in all of it, but you also can't control things, right? So when we don't trust, it may manifest in the form of trying to be a perfectionist, right? So you want to be perfect. If you're perfect, therefore you think your brain thinks, okay, I'll be able to control things. I'll be able to have things happen if I'm perfect, right? If I'm not perfect, then I don't get, the things I want. Or maybe it's you have anxiety, right? Because you don't trust in life. You don't feel safe and supported. So you're an anxious person. Depression even, right? Maybe you just don't believe that good things can happen to you, right? And then as a result of these beliefs that I've started at a young age, and they carry on into your life, then you're perpetuating it, right? So it's not your fault that you started off with those beliefs as a kid based on the experiences you had, right? That's not your fault. But you've now carried on those beliefs and that feeling of distrust and that feeling of insecurity, that feeling of, fear and worry into your adult life. And then now you're perpetuating that reality, right? So if you couldn't trust as a kid, and then you felt that distrust or you felt that insecurity as a kid, then as an adult, you carried that insecurity and distrust forward, right? And energy is what creates our life. So therefore, you created many, many more manifestations that validated the belief that you couldn't trust. It validated the belief that you weren't safe, right? And however it showed up, right? And so for me, a lot of the time it was financials, right? It's like, well, I didn't have a lot of money when I was a kid. Therefore, I carried that feeling and that belief into my adulthood, into my adult life, right? And it's only when I honestly would say the last few months that I've actually developed this feeling of security, this feeling of trust, right? And so, of course, so if you know that you don't trust, if you know that it's hard for you to trust or to feel safe for whatever reason, well, what do you do about it, right? And I want to share that with you. So really, it's root chakra work, right? So if you don't know the chakras, there are 7 major energy systems in the body. There are many more chakras than 7, but 7 is what we kind of work with. And so it starts at the base of your spine and goes upwards, right? So the root to the crown chakra, the root chakra is near where your spine kind of ends, your tailbone area is where it would be kind of physically. And that is related to safety, security, and trust. So if you don't have a feeling of trust. If you don't feel secure, you want to work with your root chakra. And I recommend this to a lot of my clients, as well as myself, of course, because I tend to attract similar people, right? So they tend to have similar emotional, needs or whatever, belief systems and things like that. So working on root chakra is a must. So just some quick tips on there. The color red relates to the root chakra, so you can incorporate more red into your life. Like get a manicure and pedicure that's red, right? Getting outside and grounding in nature is good for the root chakra. Eating foods like potatoes and parsnips and what are those red things? Beets, with the intention that it's balancing your root chakra. Saying affirmations like you're safe and secure, right? Like there are a lot of things you can do for the root chakra. But those are just some basics. And then really it's just an option to trust, right? So how I'm finally trusting that money is going to come and support me and feeling safe and secure is choosing to trust, right? So it's like, well, when I can't trust, my brain's like, well, you can't trust because these things happened to you in the past. You had that happen and that wasn't good financially. You had that happen and that wasn't good financially. And like your brain brings all these this evidence to the surface, right, of why you cannot trust currently. But really, when you break it down, you ask yourself, well, why? It's like, okay, well, I had these experiences in the past. And it's like, well, why did I have these experiences in the past? Well, because, I came from a family that had those experiences in the past. Okay, well, why did my family have those experiences in the past? Well, because they had belief systems that created that reality, right? And they did inherit that from their family and so on and so forth, right? And it just repeats. It's a pattern that repeats, right? But it doesn't actually mean that it has to keep repeating, right? Just because something has repeated doesn't mean it has to keep repeating. Like you can break the cycle. Like I'm breaking the cycle. I'm breaking the chains, right? You can do the same, right? Like there are other families, I could have been born into a family that had a lot of money, right? Just as easily. And my belief systems would then have reflected that, right? So it's a matter of realizing that it's the belief systems that you were born into and then that you agreed to and carried forward in your life, right? But it doesn't mean that that's the way it had to be for you or has to continue to be for you, right? And so it's acknowledging that and then going forward, just choosing to trust, right? And borrowing trust. So there are always areas in our lives where we do trust and we do feel safe and secure, right? And we do feel supported. So what are those areas for you, right? What are those areas for you? And then ask yourself, well, why do I trust in this area? Like, why is it easy for me to trust? And probably it's just because it's been an area that has been successful for you, right? So maybe you've always been able to trust in relationships and that's gone well for you. Maybe you've always been able to trust in money, right? Maybe you've always been able to trust in your health. Maybe you've always been able to trust in your friendships, right? So what areas for you do you trust? And then break that down and ask why. And then you'll actually realize it's a choice to trust. You've made a choice to trust at some point and you kept that energy going. Therefore, that area of your life kept just getting better or at least having the same, minimum level of goodness, right? And that energy kind of just perpetuates and perpetuates, but ultimately came down to a choice. You had a choice to trust in that area, right? And so you can choose to trust in the next area. You can choose to trust in the area that isn't, going as well for you right now, because that's the only way that it will improve is to trust and expect positive things to happen, right? And so it's a process and it's aligning it with new beliefs. It's letting go of the old beliefs. It's, choosing. It's a choice at the end of the day. It's a choice to trust. It's a choice. And I know that in the beginning, like it feels hard, right? Because you're just not used to, like, you're not used to trusting in that area. You're not used to being like, well, good things are going to happen for me in this specific area. Like for me, it was finances, right? But now I'm like, well, why not? Right? Like now I just truly feel like, okay, I'm going to choose to trust, even though it's like scary and it's like a different playing field and it doesn't feel as, stable as other areas. I'm choosing to trust, right? And I'm actually getting evidence of that trust. I'm getting evidence of the support from the universe. I'm getting evidence of my inherent safety and security, right? And it's coming more and more and more and more. And now I see the evidence of it. And then when you see the evidence of your trust reflecting back to you, then the more that you like affirm that and celebrate that evidence, right? And see the correlation between you trusting and receiving your good, then it becomes easier and easier and easier and easier and easier to trust, right? And then very soon that area is an area you trust in, right? Because you do actually have evidence after a certain point of it working out in your favor. So that's that's my roundabout way of explaining it. I hope it helped. I hope it broke it down for you a little bit more. But you can go from not trusting to trusting. It just takes some commitment to the process. It takes a choice. It takes determination to switch your thoughts, look at your limiting beliefs, align your energy, get in that energy of trust, right? It is choice. And if you want help with that, I do have an opportunity for people to work with me one-on-one. So we'd work together for a month. You'd get 3 one-on-one sessions with me. And we would go over the area you want to manifest in. It could be finances. It could be your business you're working on starting. It could be, manifesting a relationship, like whatever you kind of want. And you don't trust, you don't feel like you have got your beliefs lined up, you don't feel like things are working out from you in that area, we can really break it down for you and see exactly where your resistance is, where your thoughts are, where your patterns of thought are that aren't helping you, help you shift it. I'm going to give you so much good information and good homework and good, journal prompts and all kinds of things to throw your way so that you can shift it on the area that you want to shift it on. So if that sounds good for you, that is 444 for a month working with me one-on-one. Again, you get the 3 sessions, and then you also get unlimited access to me on Voxer, which is a messenger app and like a voice app. So every day you can check in with me if you choose, and we can work on things that come up with you day to day, right? And that's really where powerful shifts happen, is in the day-to-day access to me, because it's like, oh, I'm having this thought, what's helped me shift this? Or, oh, this thought came up for me, or, oh, this belief kind of seems tricky. How can I see this differently, right? Like that work is everything. Like getting the opportunity to somewhat be handheld in a way, not really, but in a way, because you take responsibility for your own life, right? Your own results. But to have that stability and that support from someone is really, really important. And that's been transformational for me with my mentors, and it's transformational for my clients as well. So if that interests you and you're feeling a nudge to work with me, reach out, and we'll see if we're a fit and go from there. But yes, I hope you guys can trust in life, because life does love you. God, source, universe does love you and wants to support you, but we have to allow it. And it begins with us, and we go first, and it's a little scary at first, but you can get there and you can get the results from it. You'll see tangible evidence that shows you the universe has your back, right? And is there for you and wants to support you and love on you and give you the keys to the kingdom, right? Anyways, I hope you enjoyed my little talk, my TED talk of the day. I will talk to you guys soon. All right, bye.